Welcome to the Fasthosts ProActive podcast, Spill the IT. Each episode, we'll sit down with some of the amazing ProActive team and chat through their experiences of the ups and downs of IT infrastructure management in small businesses. There's always plenty to chat about.
Hi, and welcome to the latest Fasthosts podcast episode, where we are here with Simon, the CEO, and we're going to be talking about the sustainability of the new data centre that opened up in November last year, because there's some really innovative principles that have been implemented at the data centre which are really interesting. So Simon, just to jump straight into it, I think obviously you're incredibly proud of the environmental aspect of the new data centre. So do you want to just talk us through what has been done differently and what is so innovative about it?
Hi Charlotte, yep, I'll be very glad to. It's a topic very close to my heart, so I am very pleased to be able to talk about it. First of all, when we think about our business and the rationale for going in this direction, I think we're very conscious that we have a sort of wider group of stakeholders, and businesses have had to change, and rightly so over the years. If you think about most businesses in the 20th century, they probably thought first and foremost about their shareholders, and then maybe a bit about their people and a bit about their customers. Yeah. But first and foremost, those were their sort of stakeholders that they managed, and shareholder was king. But as we develop as a society, we're sort of a lot more conscious about our sort of wider stakeholder management. And I think at Fasthosts, for many years now, we've been very conscious of our role in the wider community, whether that be where our office is based, and historically we've been based in Gloucester, and we're sort of very, very keen to be part of that community. Yeah. And now we've built a data centre in Worcester, and we're sort of very keen to make sure that we're part of that local community. Mm-hmm. But also for us, we're an online business, and we're very conscious of being part of the online community. But also, you know, the wider community at large, which is why fundamentally the environmental and sustainable topics are so important to us. We recognise that it's very important that we get this right, not just for today and now, but for the future generations to come. And it is particularly important for us. You know, we've been in business for 25 years now, and that's gone through various growth phases. But we've been conscious of this topic for some time. Like I said, we've wanted to be part of the online community, and from an environmental point of view, it's been probably almost 10 years that all of our data centres have been on sort of 100% renewable energy, and where we were sort of ahead of the time. Yeah. Against, you know, in comparison with most data centres. The sort of growth of a business meant that you know we have an opportunity to build a new data centre, and we've invested heavily in a new data centre, and we're sat in it now, and it's a lovely facility.
It's an amazing facility.
And but that's also given us a fantastic opportunity to think about how we build that, and think about our environmental impact and the wider impact on our community. And from the ground up in the design, but also the procurement. The steel for this building has carbon offset, and it's sort of carbon neutral steel and things like that. And we've thought about every single little bit of detail. Also from a design perspective, and in particular how we use our energy in this building is extremely efficient. We've got a very modular design we don't need to sort of build and cool one great big data centre hall. We've got a modular sort of room-based approach, which allows us to be more efficient, and we're very conscious of managing our cooling and our power. And we aim to get this data centre to a sort of PUE, which is the way that we utilise power, and as close as you can get it to 1, it is better. And our aim is to get it to 1.25. And we're on the right track to get it there.
Mm-hmm. So PUE, just for those who don't know, is power usage effectiveness, isn't it? And it's an interesting measurement, I think. So that is really quite innovative, isn't it? Having a score. It is,
and I should point out, this data centre is already at that rate. Where I'm at the moment, we're migrating from our Gloucester data centre to our Worcester data centre, and when I combine them both, we're sort of getting closer to that, but I need to migrate the rest of our servers over in order to achieve that 1.25.
Yes, in a previous episode we were talking about the migration of that, and so I think it's been quite a large undertaking from what I understand.
It's a significant undertaking, but it allows us to take full advantage of the facility that we've built and then invested heavily in. I think it's almost £20 million we've invested in this facility, and it allows us to pass on those benefits to our customers. And we couldn't pass on the environmental benefits in our old data centre. So it's really important to us, and we're really excited to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And I touched on the sort of how sustainable the design and the materials are. Taking that to a step further, the roof of this data centre has got sort of an industrial-sized solar farm on the top of it. It's got 1,400 solar panels on top, and it makes a significant difference. We're a data centre, and although we consume 100% renewable power and sort of green energy, we're also very conscious. We've got a contribution to make, and so we have a solar farm on the roof, and we plan to expand that and add more solar going forward. I think we're also very conscious of the way that we manage our energy, and it's very important, like I said, that we get to that 1.25 and we manage our energy in a very efficient way. We also look at other areas like our emissions, and we use HVO, which is a sort of acronym for biofuel. So we've moved away from diesel generators to biofuel generators. And that enables us to cut our emissions by sort of 90% plus.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
so
it's
a significant undertaking. And we've gone a step further. This facility has got EV charging points, bug hotels, and we've really sort of thought about every precise detail.
Yeah.
And if you bundle all those aspects together, we sort of got an energy and an environmental management system where we're working towards ISO standards, and to make sure that we sort of keep on the right track and we continue to move with the latest standards and stay ahead of the latest standards as well.
And how within all of that, how do you manage cooling? Because I know that's a big issue for data centers. I read this morning that Microsoft got into a bit of trouble in Iowa who are experiencing droughts at the moment through using a lot of water for cooling. So how have you tackled that?
So we've tackled it by trying to make it as efficient as possible, and that's where we've got some experts in that field, and they've used a particular design which means that we need less energy to cool.
Yeah.
Thinking forward, we'd like to take that a step further, and we're not there yet, but this is the way that we're thinking, that sort of inputting cool energy is great. What we're doing with the hot energy that we're taking out, and we would love to be able to work with other people on this trading estate or in the local area and allow us to heat their property or heat their factory and things like that.
Yeah,
we're not
great
there
idea.
yet, but that is the way that we're looking to not just look at the way that we're cooling our data center, but sort of getting into a circular type economy where others can use the heat that we generate as well.
Yeah, I love that, and it speaks to an ecosystem, doesn't it? Which is, as you were saying, it's about having that responsibility to the wider community.
Yep, and I think we do look at every aspect. So the cooling equipment is much like any other equipment. It becomes a requirement for us now. We have to have a look at the energy efficiency of that individual bit of hardware that we might be ordering. And not only the energy efficiency of that bit of hardware, we'll go the extra mile and have a look at the carbon footprint of how much carbon that bit of equipment has created in its creation. And our procurement team will go to that level of detail before we make those investment decisions. And if we have to wait a little bit longer for the right equipment, we will do.
I was going to say, that's really difficult to do, isn't it, with hardware, because of its entire life cycle, and then it's like, what do you do when that hardware then gets retired, and how do you ensure that that's sustainable as well? It's a very complex process, isn't it?
Yeah, and this is a challenge for many businesses.
Yeah.
And we could talk about some of the benefits for our customers, but when we look at ourselves, we've focused first and foremost on our operations, and we're very proud of our operations. I've talked about the solar panel, I've talked about the biofuel, I've talked about how energy efficient we are, but really to get into it, we also need to be looking at our value chain. And so what we're doing is we're looking at our sort of our highest value suppliers, and we're asking them the same questions, and we're looking to put targets on them for their environmental impact and things like that, and use our buying power to have more of a sort of amplification effect, positive amplification effect on the environment. and this is where our customers can benefit from all our hard work. And I would encourage our customers to look at their value chain as well. And if you're choosing a data center supplier or a supplier of any other service, ask them the question about what is their impact on the environment. We've all got a sort of contribution to make in making this a more sustainable, longer term project.
Well, and that's a really good point, because you offer a huge advantage because I know your core customers tend to be small to medium enterprises on companies, and it offers them a great route to sustainability without having to do all of that investment that you've done.
Yeah, and it's no longer, and it hasn't for a long time, been very efficient for customers to have a few servers in a cupboard and then trying to cool it and trying to do this type of activity yourself. You cannot get the efficiencies and the scale that we've been able to achieve through this sort of state-of-art design. And the uniqueness of our design, and we've touched on this in other previous podcasts, where we've got the sort of Tier 4 certification to demonstrate how available all of our services is.
Yeah.
We've got the latest design to make sure it's secure. And in this element, the environmental impact and the energy efficiency allows us to provide all of those services at an affordable price. And that's fairly unique in the market, particularly when we're looking to provide that to our sort of core, smaller, medium-sized businesses. We're allowing our customers to access what I describe as enterprise-based solutions.
Yeah, which is hugely advantageous for them, particularly if they get into bid scenarios, because obviously the government are trying to encourage SMEs to be more part of the bid process for their business. So it gives them a big tick in the box there.
And I think, regardless, I think we've all got a responsibility 100%. To be able to be looking at our value chain, and we look beyond that. We look at our value chain, but we also look, how do we dispose of our servers? How do we dispose of our hardware? And we do recycle all of our equipment in a sort of compliant manner, but it's something that we're very conscious of, that we develop the right relationships with the right partners, so that even when we've got to the end of our sort of usage of that product, that we're sort of very conscious of the impact at the end of the life as well. Yeah,
which is a big issue, isn't it? It's sort of that landfill issue, and reduce, reuse, recycle.
Yep.
Great. Well, that's been really interesting. I think, it's something that, when you see, because it is a huge building that we're in, and when you see it from the side of the motorway, it doesn't look all that different to a lot of the other ones that you see, but there's a lot of stuff obviously going on in the background that really makes that more sustainable. Yeah,
it's as I've said, it's a unique design and sort of unique in the marketplace.
Yeah, exciting. Well, thank you, Simon. That's been really good. I think people will find that interesting and useful. So thank you.
Thanks.
See you soon.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. You can subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcast, or visit proactive.fasthosts.co.uk for more info. See you next time.